Hi folks, this is Mitch from Hard Intentions YouTube channel. How you doing? And we also have hardintentions.com where we sell our t-shirts, our hats when we get them, artwork and stickers and all that good stuff. So the last time I was speaking, I left off where I had transferred to San Quentin. You know, I was getting in a hobby, all that kind of stuff. And then I got sidetracked back and forth with Donham and everything. But, you know, I had been away from San Quentin for a long time. I mean, I left there. I went back briefly in 88 and 89, boom, you know, beginning of 89, they busted us all out of there so they could make it level 2. So from like January of 89, somewhere around there, maybe December of 88, I can't remember. They, you know, until 2006, I think May, I'd been gone. So it's quite a long time. And now it's level 2, you know, but so in my mind, I'm thinking that this prison is the way it used to be, you know, when I was there as a level 4. But I'm thinking because it's a level 2, it's going to be a little more looser, a little more open. And you know, in some ways it was, but, so I get to R&R and I'm tripping because now the old brick building that was there is gone. I mean, it's not gone, but it's not being used. And they got a bunch of trailers on the lower yard for education. The laundry's in a trailer, laundry distribution. And R&R was in a trailer, like triple wide trailers, you know, or where they put like 3 or 4 trailers all hooked into one building. So I'm like, wow, that was the first thing that tripped me out. And then they had cages on the side of the yard where they put guys fresh coming into prison, because now San Quentin was West Block was reception, South Block was ADSEG, PC and reception for Southsiders and some white dudes. And then East Block was all death row. So the only main line for us would be, you know, North Block. And of course they had H unit, which started when I was there as tents, you know, it was Army tents. They call it Tent City. And when they first put Tent City up, you know, they tried to burn them tents down, and it was a big problem. So anyway, H unit now is all concrete buildings. It holds 100, 200 guys in a building. Excuse me. So I'm up in North Block, and I get moved into a cell with this dude, Rocky. This dude's older than me, and he's like, yeah, I'm a skinhead, and I'm a shot caller and all this. The guy's, you know, a little short, older guy. You know, he's in his mid-50s, right? And I'm thinking, and he's saying that he's been in prison longer than me. And I'm like, dude, how the fuck are you this? When, you know, if you got busted in 77 or 78, then there wasn't even, in New York, they had them dudes, but not out here. I mean, not that I know of. And you've been in prison all that at that time. So I asked him, so that's you from the street? You were one of them dudes on the street? And he's like, well, no, you know. And, you know, I'm like, dude, fuck off. This is a level 2 life or graveyard, you know. And he's like, yeah, I've been to Folsom, and I've been this and that and the other. And so I didn't stay in that dude's cell very long. And he's like, you got paperwork, you know, you should show it to my homeboy. They're from IE. You know, he's got the building and this and that. And I go, yeah, I got paperwork. And I'll show my paperwork to anybody who's got paperwork to show me. And so, you know, that was my first impression, was this dude's a fucking lame. Thinks he's about something in some weak-ass level 2, right? And then next day, I moved out. I moved in. I knew the clerk from Tracy. This guy Mark, you know, he hooked me up a cell, and on the 3rd tier, yard side, you know, and so I moved out of that dude's cell. And then here comes this guy. You know, I got my property and shit, and then here comes this guy. You know, like, yeah, you know, I got the building, and I'm like, who the fuck are you? You know, I never seen you before. I don't know you. You know, he's not a lifer. He's just some lop, you know, that wants to be all that in a PC ass fucking level 2. And I say PC ass, it's not a PC joint at the time. it's just, weak ass joint, man. And I'm like, yeah, you got your paperwork. I'll show you mine. And, he ran over there and came back with some bullshit chrono or whatever. I showed him my shit. And I was into that. And that dude ended up being a fucking dope fiend. Long story. I forgot his name. So I got a cell. I don't have a Cellie. And then next thing you know, I'm like, hey, I need a Cellie. So I moved this kid named Misfit in my house, and he was a good kid. And I did some tattoo work on him, but he was a fuck up. And little did I know that he had already racked up write-ups, and his points had gone up, and they were trying to ship him out. So, but I did some tattoo work on him and stuff. And then that dude that was my Cellie when I first got there, Rocky, this kid really was a skinhead from the street, and Coors, and he was a good kid. He had Misfit tattooed on the side of his head, and he was into punk rock, and he was a young guy, man. He was a good kid. And so that guy tried to tell this kid, how to act or how to do it. And that kid he asked me, what should I do? Fuck, that dude ain't nothing. He's just a prison guy and this and that. I said, go there and put him in check, fuck it. He went in the dude's cell, told him, hey, woo, told him, I'll beat your fucking ass, dude. And that was the end of that. And yeah. So I got my own cell, and then I got a job in a carpenter shop. And which, it was okay. I wasn't like the old days. But, I just think access to wood, glue, and whatever, So first thing I did is I got these turquoise tiles and some cream-colored tiles, linoleum squares, 12-inch squares tiles. And I run a couple boxes of that stuff up in my cell with a bucket of glue. And first chance I got. And my boss was like, what are you doing? I go, I'm going to tile my cell. He's like, all right, And so we go up. The thing was, you drive up in a truck to the upper yard because we used to go in the kitchen and they have little square red tiles on the floor and they pop up. So we go and glue them back down. And they would go through an elaborate thing, to do that. And I told my boss, what's this? I mixed up some thin set, kind of slurry, real thin, and filled the gaps, all the holes where the tiles are missing, filled it up with that shit, dropped them tiles back in there and just let it sit and harden up. And he's like, wow, that's pretty cool, And so anyway, I went up to the building and tiled my cell, and everyone's tripping. Man, that guy's tiling his cell. Other guys had tile in their cell, but had been there a while, And so here's the deal with San Quentin. Back in the day, this was the rules, general rules. If you got it to your cell, you could keep it. They had guys with vices welded to their bed frames, and they used to do hobby with them and all that kind of stuff. And so that was a general rule back in the day. If you got it to your cell, you could keep it. So that's my mindset. If I could get it to my cell, I'm keeping it, right? So anyway, I got the tile cell, And then at the foot of the bed, the bed frame's made out of angle iron with springs. And so I got angle iron going up to holds the top bunk up. So I made a bunch of 3/4-inch plywood shelves that go across with braces. And I put them in with liquid nails, So it would, when they tore them out, they had a hard time. They had to break the wood because the liquid nails, they held that wood to the bed frame like you wouldn't believe. So, I got shelves at the foot of my bed, and everyone's telling me, man, dude, And I'm like, hey, it ain't no big deal. I'm just fixing up the house. And, I'm going in the kitchen a couple times a week. My boss had keys to butcher shop, all that kind of stuff. I get boxes of ice cream, the little squares they used to give us, about this big, little Neapolitan or vanilla squares. I get a box of that, take it out, hey, give it to the homeboy, hey, here, Or I get a bucket. Like the first time I did this, I got like 40 or 50 pieces of chicken. And they just give you little legs. It's a leg with a thigh. It went from a half a chicken split down the middle to a leg with a little bit of a thigh. And these are PIA chickens, so they're not too healthy. So anyway, I run out of there. I had like 40 or 50 piece of chicken legs and with a thigh, and then I had like 24 hamburgers, I think. So I got that, I said, hey, take this up to the building. I got it in a bucket, I got it in a pillowcase, like not a pillow, but a laundry. It's a net, net bag you put your laundry in, and, blood's leaking out of it. It's starting to. So I shot that up to the building, and I said, I'll be in there later, And dude's like, man, where'd you get all that chicken? I said, what the fuck, man? I mean, it comes out of the kitchen, right? But it really tripped me out because back in the day, everybody had some kind of hustle going on. And now it's like all these dudes are just basically giving up, man. I mean, they're just slaves to the PIA. They have a wood factory there and some other stuff like textiles, maybe, I don't know, mostly wood factory. And, all these guys are just slaves. The PIA, that's their hustle, is going to work, which is fine, but that's all they do. And so when they seen me doing all this stuff, I also would, like I did some, there's a program called No More Tears there. It's a self-help program where they work with victims from the street and all that kind of stuff. And, they had me do 30 paintings of a teardrop with a name in it. And I did a background. I did them all really bitching. Each one of them was different. And I got paid like, $350 for doing them. But I did them on 1/4-inch plywood that I got from my job. And then I made 30 picture frames at my job and sent them out, And dudes are like, man, I'm at just one time I did something like that. I was doing that shit like every day, man. And guys like, I need a toilet seat cover. And I wasn't charging dudes for that kind of shit. I just sent it out. Or they need bottles of glue, and I'm shooting it out. And then this guy I know, Bodie, he's like, I known him for years. He's like, hey, bro, you're doing too much, man. These guys are going to tell on you. And I go, hey, man, I don't fuck with drugs. And at that time, I go, I don't fuck with tobacco, none of that shit. What do you mean? He goes, man, you're just doing too much. These guys, they're going to rat on you. I go, what are you going to rat on me for? In my mind, I'm like, dude, I'm legal. I'm, state shit, right? But it's just to the point, man, where guys just weren't doing that kind of stuff anymore. And so they see me moving and hustling, shaking around, they're like envious, I guess, is the only word I can use to describe, how they felt. And so then I met this dude on the tier, JR from Frisco, and he's like, he wanted some tattoo work, He had kind of a messed up hand, like birth defect type thing. And, but he was yoked up, and when I met him, he's like, hey, I don't fuck with drugs. He smoked cigarettes and he sold cigarettes. He had cigarette hustle big time. He'd buy tobacco. And this guy's uncle, when he went to prison, I think he did like 10 years. So JR, they call him, right? Jimmy Robinette. I'd like to find him if you know where he's at. Tell him to get in touch with me. Anyway, his uncle was a kleptomaniac. He used to be a dope fiend, and now he was clean, but he had the habit of stealing. And when JR got busted and shit, he goes, don't worry, JR, I'll take care of you, Because, JR's mom was in the picture or whatever. So anyway, every fucking day, this guy got envelopes, and he'd use stamps that he stole, and he put 1 million stamps in this. Sometimes the stamps were still good, so he had stacks of stamps. But he would get greeting cards. He would get badass greeting cards. And he would get anywhere from 10 to 50 greeting cards every day in the mail. Every day. So he had boxes. He had these big, long boxes. I don't know where he got them. I think some kind of food shit came in. But anyway, he had like 10, 12 boxes of greeting cards, man. And he sold them for $1 or $2. He'd sell you a $10 greeting card for $2 because his uncle was stealing them and sending them to him. And that was his hustle, And so he made his money. He had food on the shelf, and he would buy, pouches of tobacco here and there because he had money, Guys, he had guys that, they had old ladies, man, and they were lifers, and there's no family visits. Like one black dude, he got married, even though he was a lifer. He met some chick, got married, even though there's no family visits anymore, all that. And that guy would come by. He worked in the joint venture program. which is a minimum wage job, and so he had a lot of money, and he would buy like $50, $60 worth of greeting cards from JR every month, and he would just send him the money, he'd give him the cash somehow. And then JR would use that to fucking buy his tobacco. The guy had a hustle, And so anyway, I meet him and he's like, yeah, man, I want some tattoos. And I'm like, well, I don't really feel like tattooing unless I have the right shit, Now I'm a prima donna, I like to set my machines up a certain way, And so anyway, he goes, well, what do you need done? I'll get it made for you. All right. So I need a machinist to make it. We need somebody that has access to the machine shop. And so, meantime, he's like, look, I used to be a dope fiend. This dude was married, had 3 kids, all that shit. And then he just started smoking crack again. And he told his wife, this is not before he came to prison. He's like, I don't love you. I got to roll. And she's like, what? And she had firm hatred for this guy. Wouldn't let him see his kids, ride him, nothing. It kind of upset him. And he went off smoking crack, and he was a carpet layer and all that shit. And then, ended up in prison. So he's like, hey, I don't fuck with drugs. I smoke and I like to eat. Well, I'm like, well, I like to eat and I don't smoke. And I don't fuck with drugs either, And so we got along. He said, oh, we'll be best of friends. You don't want to smoke my cigarettes, but we could eat together. I'm like, yeah. And he lived right down the tier from me. And so anyway, JR he got this guy, Roger, he's a machinist. He's like, yeah, I'll buy, I want to make a down payment. He gave me like 100 cigarettes all rolled up. I was like, all right. I went and sold them all for like food and all that kind of shit, So when I first got there, I never really got into the cigarette hustle because I didn't really. My thing is, if I'm going to do something, I want to do it to the fullest. I want to make as much money as I can. I'm not going to nickel and dime it. But so anyway, I took them cigarettes, got some food and shit. And then, so I got this guy, Roger. He's straight dope fiend, My friend David introduced me to him, who is, he's out now, Big Dave. And he's like, yeah, this guy will make your tattoo machine, I said, all right. So I did a drawing, of a brace with a tube and all that shit. So I'm like, what's that guy going to want for that, And he says, oh, he's a fucking dope thing. Don't worry about it. So I gave him a little piece of heroin and he made my machine. So sure enough, here it comes with this thing. And he made a little brace. I used to hose clamp it to a motor. Then I had a little wheel, an offset post on a motor, and the barrel come down the tube was aluminum, and then had a little set screw, and you could put bronze tips in there, and that way you could take the tips out, clean them separate, and all that shit, and it's pretty snappy, man. It had a big 5/8 knurled handle and tapered down. It was nice, and so then JR's like, yeah, man, now you got the stuff, so let's what's up with the tattooing, So I did some short sleeves on him, and the reason I wanted a tattoo on him too is he didn't want like standard prison crap like skulls and all that and demons and he wanted like flowers and frog. I put a frog and some flowers and I forgot what else. He wanted unusual shit, birds, and I'm like, cool. I cleaned up some of his work and I short sleeved him, and then so I'm in the carpenter shop though, and I got people. There's this cop there named Gold. He ended up retiring. This dude was, he drilled a hole in the wall so he could look into the showers, from another room in PIA where guys go and take shower. He's a weird fucker, man. And he would get up in a tree and look through the windows in the shower area and work area and spy on dudes. And he fell out of the tree and broke his arm. He's a weird dude, man. So, but he worked PIA. I worked in plant operations, which is all the way on the other end of the area, the maintenance area, And so, that guy would come down to my fucking work area and shake down my bench, my work area. This guy's tearing up the shop like 2-3 times a week. And I go, hey, dude, what the fuck's your trip, man? And he wouldn't say anything, And then I go through work change. You got a table. You put your shit there. Then you squat and cough, walk through. They search your shit and you get dressed and go back to the yard. That's just to make sure you don't have any knives or any of that kind of stuff. And so one day I go down there to go to the yard, right? And there he is. Because they think tobacco's coming out of plant operations and stuff, and PIA from free staff bringing it in. And this guy's on me like, oh, I got you, I'm going to strip you out. And I'm like, whatever, dude. He strips me out, cough, I'm like, all right. So now he's pissing me off, I'm like, I go, hey, dude, I don't know what the fuck you think you're doing or what you think you're going to find, but, I'm clean, dude. I've been doing this a long time and I'm over all that stupid shit. I try to, a lot of cops, you tell them that kind of stuff. They try to get you a couple times, and they don't. And then you tell them, hey, dude, I'm over that shit. A lot of times they'll leave you alone, whether you're over it or not, But, or maybe they'll just lay back and watch and quit fucking with you. But this dude was just relentless, man. He was just like pardon my language, he was like retard moron, dude. He would just, and so, next thing I know, that's when my friend Bodie started telling me, man, bro, you're just doing too much, you're doing too much. And I'm like, dude, I'm not doing shit. I'm trying to hobby and, so next thing I know, this dude I come home from work and my cell's just turned upside down. I mean, it turned upside down, excuse me. And, I'm like, what the fuck, man? And there he is. He's got my photo albums. I'm like, man, what the fuck, dude? And, I had about 1,500, 2,000 pastels. They're little crayons, artist crayons. They were just all over my floor, my clothes, everything was in a pile. I was so fucking mad. And I went and told the sergeant, I go, hey man, this dude just fucking tore up my house. Look at it, And so the sergeant looks at my house and he's like, do you find anything? Now I had that tattoo gun. I took the barrel, the two, put it in one spot, put the tips over here, put the brace over there. I had it spread out all over my cell. I even took the needles, because I knew this dude was on me, man. But I didn't know he was going to do this. So I put the needle right where the wall comes down and meets the floor, right on that seam. And I put the needle. He found everything. And he knew what it was. I was like, dude, man. He put it all together, And, I was like, motherfucker, man. The sergeant got on his ass and then he said, did you find anything? He goes, I found a tattoo machine. And that sergeant turned and looked at me like, damn, because he didn't like this dude either. And he wanted to, tell him, hey, stay the fuck out of my building. But, I was dirty. So, yeah, I didn't get a write-up for that, man. But I was pissed off because he took my photo albums and turned them over to the fucking goon squad because they had photographs of guys in motorcycle clubs. I did their patch, on their back or, chest shots, whatever, or shoulder cap shots. And, one of them's dead. The guy from Frisco, I did his patch and he got killed. So, they turned them all over to the goon squad. Gang paraphernalia, And I'm like, son of a bitch, man. I was upset. And so I went to Goon Squad, they gave me my photo albums back, but all the photographs of motorcycle club tattoos, guys from motorcycle clubs, they were all taken out. And also my old Cellie Todd that was on death row because he had become a prison gang member. They took all the photographs I had of him. And I was like, dude, those are just tattoos. So who do you ride with? What club are you in? I go, look, I've been in prison since I was 17. I've never been in a motorcycle club or a fucking prison gang or any of that shit. They're just on me because they're stupid. And back in the old days, it was never a question. I mean, but these fucking cops nowadays in prison, man, they're stupid, and they ride people and people break. And give them information and drop out or PC up, whatever. So anyway, I go, hey man, what's up with my photographs? They go, oh, we're keeping them. They're gang photos. I was so mad. Anyway, I seen that cop goad later on. And he goes, but the sergeant did tell him, hey, stay the fuck out of this guy's cell, you know. So he never fucked with me again, but he tried to chat it up with me. He goes, hey, man, that's the nicest tattoo machine I ever seen. He goes, that's professional. I'm going to put that in the museum out in front. They got a museum out front. He goes, I'm going to put that out there. Are you serious? He goes, yeah. And I go, yeah, whatever, you know. He goes, you brought that from another prison, huh? I go, yeah, I brought that from another prison, you know. I'm not going to tell him where the fuck I got it, you know, but he's like, man, I'm impressed. I go, yeah, whatever. You should just give it back to me so I could do some tattoo work with him. And, you know, but yeah, I lost my tattoo machine. But, you know, after that, my back went out. I re-roofed the family visiting unit. I put a new roof on that, and my fucking back went out from carrying them bundles of shingles around. And there was this Mexican guy that they had hired as a free staff. He's from Mexico, but he's over here legit. And you know, he's a roofer, and they put me with him to work on the roof. And we stripped all the shingles off, and then there was some dry rotted plywood. So I went down and cut a piece. He goes, this guy worked with me, you know. I'm like, yeah. His English was terrible, but he was a cool dude. So I went and cut a piece of plywood, nailed it off, you know, and then we put felt down, and we did you know, I told him, I know what I'm doing, you know, and he was kind of skeptical. And so I started laying out shakes, you know, singles, and boom, you know, he had a nail gun, and he just smiled. He goes, man, you know what you're doing? And I go, yeah, I know a little bit, you know. And then my back went out, so, you know, I was kind of burnt out on going to that carpenter shop every day. The benefits were kind of thin. They were getting worse, you know, so, yeah. Anyways, I was going to say that cop goat took my radio, too. I had a badass stereo. Yeah, so I just got a job change to the block so I could do my artwork and all that kind of stuff. But whenever I see that guy, that Mexican cat that I was working with, that free staff, he said, hey, amigo, you know. Yeah, I guess that impressed him, you know, that some guy in prison knew what he was doing with roofing, you know. But it's kind of rare nowadays. Guys don't know what the fuck they're doing because they don't work on the street, you know. But I started just hanging out in the house. You know, I got a job in the building, taking out the trash at night. And then I just have JR give me cigarettes and shit. Or a couple of my friends that had tobacco once in a while, you know. And I just give them kids cigarettes. And I go, hey, man, why don't you take them trash cans out for me, you know? And I toss them a cigarette. Like, oh, fuck yeah, you know. Because there's 840 guys in the block. And a lot of them are transients, you know. They're in and out. And so, you know, they're youngsters going to H unit or whatever. So I just have them do my my job at night. Then I also painted a mural in my cell, and which got painted over years later. But yeah, what really tripped me out though was, and on the main line there in San Quentin at that time, there were no Southsiders there. It was Northerners, Paisas, blacks, you know, Asians, whites. So what really tripped me out, though, about that place is like out of 840 dudes, like 800 were lifers. And some of them were like, you know, going to college or whatnot. You know, that's cool. We're doing the different programs, you know, the addiction recovery counseling stuff. And a lot of guys are going to religious services and all that because they got an awesome chapel set up there. But some of them dudes are working that, you know, the Catholic priest there was a queer, and he was a gay, excuse me. And you know, I was like, man, what, you know, I'll tell these dudes, hey man, what the fuck, that guy's a queer, man. And excuse me, he was gay, you know. And so, you know, nobody seemed to mind. It's like they were working him. I don't know if he was bringing them tobacco, food, whatever. I know they'd be over there grilling it up, you know, in the chapel. They had a grill, and you know, I don't know what was going on with that, but then he ended up leaving, and we got a priest from Massachusetts, actually. Father Williams is pretty cool, Irish dude. He worked in the prisons out there in Massachusetts, you know, with the Southies. Yeah, you know, he was a cool dude. But they got good religious services there. So guys are doing that. But on the other hand, guys were like falling into this grind of just, shooting dope, staying loaded, hustling to get cigarettes so they can stand around and smoke a cigarette once in a while, and slaving away in PIA, and it just like, we're not getting out. And my thing was, hey, if we're not getting out, who gives a fuck? We're in San Quentin. San Quentin has a lot of history, and I used to tell people, I love San Quentin. I like the architecture. I like the way it's set up. The cells are puny. I could put my hands out side to side and touch both walls. They're 4 foot 10 inches wide, 10 feet deep. But you could do a lot of stuff there, man, and in prisons. But it's just like guys are telling on people. Guys, like, I don't know if they're trying to earn favor with the board or what the deal is, man. But it was really depressing to see a lot of them dudes. The guys that were going to hobbies, some of them were cool. Like my friend Dave was doing wood carving and stuff. He used to do leather, and Tracy, I knew him, and Tracy. He's a motorcycle guy. He came up here to see me actually several months ago before this COVID thing. And but all these dudes, they're either in this fucking poor me stupor bullshit, and they're hustling pills because now the prison system is like, we don't want anyone to be in pain. So they were giving out morphine, codeine, methadone, and they crush your methadone and put it in a cup of water. And these dudes would, and walk away and spit it out and save it. Then they would sell the spit to motherfuckers. I mean, that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. I go, you bought your bottle of spit, huh? Yeah. It's just, I was like, what the fuck's wrong with these dudes, man? I knew one dude, he'd just shoot like 20 fucking morphine pills a day. So the guys are going out of their way to fake injuries or have surgeries for shit they really don't need so they could get morphine pills and sell them. That's their little hustle. I just thought it was fucking disgusting, man. And of course that drove down the drug trade. Why buy some heroin from some guy, for $50 and you can go down and get your morphine pill from the state, right? And get high for free. And so, that's the state of affairs, man. And then you had other guys that were involved with different self-help programs, the baseball team, different stuff, jobs or food hustles or whatever. And they would act like, this is mine. They were like territorial over some state shit. And that really fucking bothered me because, especially with arts and corrections, man, because when I worked in arts and corrections in Lancaster, I got the budget, I bought all the materials, and I made sure everybody that came in that shop for a good program, they had good paintbrushes, excellent quality paint, plenty of it, canvases, paper, whatever, man, pencils, everything. Whatever kind of artwork guys wanted to do, they could do it. Then my boss ordered all the shit for guys to do music, man. They had a band room in that thing. And even though I hated them dudes that come in that band, I made sure everybody got their slots. They could play music. Everyone could do artwork. It was cool. I mean, it wasn't my shit. The state paid for all that material for guys to go in there and do that program. It was my responsibility. Guy his name pops up on the list. It's time for him to come into an art class. Even if I hated the dude, man, I made sure he came in there. So when I got to San Quentin, man, in that fucking arts and corrections room, dude, it was so territorial, man. And they were bogarting all the equipment. There was some weird shit going on in there. There was some weird shit going on in there. And, but like this one dude was learning how to paint, a Big Ted, karate master. Yeah. And, he was getting pretty good at it. And, so they give this dude a canvas that had been painted on with oil paint, right? And he restretched it and everything. He starts doing another painting on it. I go, hey, I see what he was doing. And this was like a special painting for him. It had a tiger with all his karate emblems. And Anyway, I said, hey, bro, you know, you're not supposed to put acrylic paint over oil paint. It won't stick. The oil will repel, you know, it's like painting on glass, or, you know, it's like painting on grease, something covered in grease. It won't stick. It won't get, you got to sand the shit out of it and reprime it. And it's a process, you know, to do it. And that's only if the oil painting is, you know, 5 or 10 years old, whatever. So I'm like, he's like, man, I wonder why them guys didn't tell me that. You know, they just let me do this. I said, you know, I'm just letting you know. So, I mean, it wasn't just arts and corrections, though. It was everything, you know. Guys are territorial, me, you know, fucking cold shoulder to people. I didn't dig it, man. So, and yeah. And some of these guys are guys I knew forever, you know. And, yeah. Anyways, that's the beginning of my disappointment with going back to San Quentin, and we'll get back into more of it later. You guys take care out there. Hopefully we'll see you soon on a live chat. And hey, listen, whatever you do, remember, do it hard. Take care of yourselves. Stay healthy. Stay out of trouble. Stay focused. Do it hard. Enjoy your life. Hard. Thank you very much. Bye.